It's the question many are asking as the US continues its strikes on Iran. Why, for the first time since 1980, are there no Royal Navy warships in the Gulf to protect British interests, or the Mediterranean to defend bases like RAF Akrotiri in Cyprus?
Firstly, the Navy has been shrinking. The numbers of our escorts have been reducing, and by escorts I mean frigates and destroyers in particular, over the years. We've been drawing down, and the fight to maintain those levels of force structure, the number of ships, has been a continual one in the face of real budgetary challenges. And the real budgetary challenges are not so much about the money available for acquisition of new ships, although that has been a problem because they've been delayed on the basis that the money wasn't available to buy them sooner or faster, but also the money available to keep the ships we've got running. So what's happened is that the fleet we've got, the aging Type 23s in particular, and to a certain extent the Type 45s as well, have suffered from a lack of spares, a lack of maintenance effort, and so on. And so getting them out in sufficient numbers at sufficient readiness has been problematic.
The other issue is personnel and the Royal Navy's ability to crew the 60 or so surface ships it has.
The Navy over the previous 12 months lost something like 1,500 sailors off the trained strength through sort of 2025. Now we're doing better on recruitment, but 1,500 sailors is about 10 frigate ships companies worth. It's an extraordinary amount of expertise to lose. So yes, we're doing better on recruitment, and there's a real bulge of junior people coming through the system, but they all need to be trained and so on. So the real reason is aging ships, which are falling apart and haven't been maintained properly, and frankly have been overused and thrashed. So we don't have the hulls available. And secondly, even if we did have the hulls available, we probably wouldn't have the sailors to crew them.
HMS Dragon, a Type 45 destroyer that can shoot down drones and missiles, is being sent to the region, but it's not expected to leave Portsmouth until next week.
It will be a really busy time for the ship, because all of a sudden you've got to take on a whole load of stores. And I've got some experience of this because we did it in HMS Westminster back in 2011 when the whole Libya thing kicked off. But of course, what HMS Dragon's been sent to do is defend British interests in the Eastern Mediterranean, British assets from air and missile attack. And so she needs to take on that ammunition. Now, because she's been alongside in a period of maintenance, she probably will have had the minimal amount of ammunition necessary, because keeping ammunition on board when you're doing that sort of work actually can become prohibitive. It's better, to have it out of the way. So she'll have gone to the Upper Harbour ammunition facility in Portsmouth and be craning on the various missiles, taking on the various other ammunitions that she'll need to do. And that process for a ship that size will normally take perhaps 2 or 3 days, depending on what she's got already. So they'll load her up. She'll be loaded up with food and all of the other stores that you need, and then off she'll go.
On Sunday night, a Shahed-type drone hit a hangar inside RAF Akrotiri. There were no casualties, and defence officials say it didn't come from Iran. Earlier reports suggested it was fired by Hezbollah, Iran's proxy in neighbouring Lebanon. So should the UK have been better prepared for what's unfolding?
There's a little bit of reading the room. You could see the disposition of American forces. You could see from several weeks ago the build-up. And the sort of build-up we were seeing was unlikely to be without consequences. You don't move that amount of heavy metal and those stores and so on into position if you're not really, really serious about achieving a fundamental change to drive a strategic outcome. So we could and should have seen this coming. And therefore we could have said, well, look, as a prudent measure, why don't we deploy one of our ships? Why don't we generate an extra Type 45? But of course that comes at a cost. And my argument would be that at a strategic level, we have taken our eye off the ball, and we haven't, as a nation, this is. I think the leaders in the Navy have made some choices, and you can criticise some of those individual choices and approaches. But as a nation, we haven't been prepared enough to say, look, there will be a crisis coming down the line. We don't know what it is, but we need to be ready for it.
After it leaves Portsmouth, HMS Dragon's expected to take around a week to reach the waters off Cyprus, where it'll protect the sovereign base areas. Meanwhile, the government's defended its response, saying it has significant defensive capabilities in the region. Thanks for watching. For more from BFBS Forces News, like and subscribe to our channel.